Let's get to story number two. Story number two. Has the government been doing their job? And if not, what happens when they do? So this story surfaced about and we're seeing people having different views when it comes to governing. And when you look at this administration, people has many views. We look at how big the government has grown, and we have to ask ourselves: is it the government's fault for doing what government is supposed to do, especially in America? Like, you look at some of these other countries and people are rebelling against their government. You look at what's happening in France, where they're talking about how they have all those donations to build the cathedral, but they don't have enough money to feed the people. So people have had gripes. Me being a former government employee, I know what it takes to do that job. It is a very strenuous job. So we have to ask ourselves at the end of the day. And people are talking about Social Security, about how the funds are being, and you're talking about senior citizens here. So you're talking about taking away from a generation who basically built the foundation. So when we analyze this, we have to look at there's so many things happening within government right now, and we cannot say that the system is either functioning improperly or improperly, because the government has tons of programs. Now, when you talk about getting paid and having a secure good job, I mean, you definitely probably would want to be on a team that's printing out the money. So when you look at the system and you're starting to analyze a lot of these stories, people are trying to analyze is the government functioning properly? But I think what they're failing to do is not if the government is functioning properly, but if the people within the system are functioning, are doing their duties in an ethical manner. And I think that's why there's so many problems surrounding President Trump, is because of the fact that you have a lot of investigations going on within this administration, but we're talking about a base that is riled up but has no clue maybe to understand what actually happened. I guess what I'm trying to say when it comes to this story, especially when I get into some of these things that are some headlines, is that people right now what's happening in the arena of news and analysts, is that people have found out that there's been government programs that people have been abusing. And they've known that people were abusing these programs for a long time. So it's not that the programs are wrong, but it's that the programs may not be being utilized properly, or if it was an agenda to basically. So there's a lot of different opinions on this topic of government misuse, government programs, and what is actually the right way or proper way. Like, you can go into businesses. Some businesses still don't pay sales tax, or they may not be paying sales tax. So you have all of these different things that are happening within the system but some people are just refusing to pay taxes, period, because they're tired of being taxed. Some people just may not understand the tax system. You may look at properties that have been abandoned in a city somewhere, and you may be wondering where those owners are. So you have all of this happening within just the United States. So you have to ask yourself in this story number two, is, has the government been doing its job? Or if not, then who has? Or what happens when they do? Is what would happen if the government were as strict as possible? I mean, just extremely strict. I mean, just brutal. Just basically saying that if there was no democracy, everything that the government says goes. We have to ask ourselves, if we live in a system like that, would this be a representative republic, or would this be a function? So I guess what's happening is that we're seeing so many new rules taking place within this system, or so many different new ideas, that people are starting to now get an interpretation of what government jobs should be, and if there should be more government program, or if there should be taxpayer dollar. So some people are just giving up on the system because they're saying it's been abused too much. Like, you're talking about, you have to look at some of these NSA programs. They're talking about dropping some of these controversial, excuse me, mass surveillance programs. Then you have Trump announcing the U.S. withdrawal from the UN an arms trade treaty. So the United States has a unique system of governing. So now you're starting to see us to kind of trying to protect some of the laws that we have in place. But the thing is that's happening is that so many laws are being abused. It's like, how do you function? How do you keep the system stable? Even with these college programs, like you look at all of these people who have abused the college system. They're talking about people who have spent millions of dollars to get their kids into high level schools, and it's been unfair for the poor. So they've created all these laws for excuse me, a proper balanced system, and now they're so the effect that this is going to cause when you talk about policies and the changing of the guard here, this is going to take years to patch up, because if people find out that the system has not been fair, just imagine what that's going to do to the new laws being passed. I guess what I'm saying is that the first man is always messing it up for the second man, and you can see it happening. Trump administration puts offshore drilling plans on hold after setbacks in courts. So many new, because of all these new different viewpoints, Green New Deal. So many things are changing, and the government is trying to adapt. Even when you talk about reproductive health care, when you talk about the old school way of health care, health plans, all this stuff is changing because we're in the new tech era. People things are much faster now with everything being online. Then you have people infiltrating the online market. So the thing is can government keep up, or is government even, or do they just need to redesign the way government works? Are we reaching a different ball field here? So you're starting to see these stories surface about how all of these implementations into law are affecting government. You look at the credit system, the credit rating system, how the banks are starting to understand that some people just had a bad shake, had a bad hand. So this is what's going to determine how this story evolves in the next few weeks, is when we talk about government policy and who has the right policies in 2020 to fit this new generation. So that's what, and like you look at some of the housing laws back in the day about how the baby boomers were able to own land and how they're now retiring, and you see this new generation not wanting to invest in property. So the whole culture of this country is changing. It is. You look at religion, how some people are just turning away from. And now you have all these new ideas. They're talking about universal income, free healthcare, free college. So you have to ask yourself: could this be changing? Could this be changing the way government works, or will government stay the way it's been? And you have tons of new ideas, tons of new policies, but some people just say we need to stick to the traditional way, even with the way some of these politicians are being funded. You look at, there was a story that surfaced, Illinois governor, he's under federal investigation for tax breaks on mansions. And you look at how they're trying to look at Trump talking about adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census because of the fact that there's been so many people abusing the immigration system. So all of these new ideas, now they're talking about homing in on Social Security benefits that senior citizens need it. Senior citizens need Social Security. Disabled veterans need Social Security. People who have, the whole system is going through a complete, thorough, just onlooking. People are looking at people are looking at government, and they're trying to see what works and what doesn't work. And I'm telling you, this Republican base is just tightening. Everything is getting real tight, and they're trying to figure out where every government dollar is going. Now that things are computerized, it's very tough now to either cheat the system or get away with anything. Even with the They're talking about the 2018 election, about how it was such a Democrat surge. The Republicans are talking about tightening the belts on voting. I mean, when you have candidates like Elizabeth Warren talking about erasing most student loan debts, it's going to ring some bells, because some people some people who follow the rules are saying, "Hey, what do I get out of the deal?" So you're seeing these stories surface, and they're centering around government policies and what candidate actually has an accurate plan to get the debt down and to get things evened out. But this is, I mean, you have so much going on within the system right now, and you have to ask yourself, is how this happened? The right is blaming most of it on Democrat policies. The left is blaming it most on Republican policies. But the thing is who has the right agenda? What is really at stake in this new form, or this new idea that we have of governing in the system, in this system of freedom and democracy for everybody? Trump says that all countries importing Iranian oil will face sanctions. So you have to look at this, and even how people view this president, view this administration, how he's been able to not really keep a lot of people in his circle because of the way he wants to govern. So we're seeing it. They're even talking about Trump's business deals, and how the court, when you're looking at what's happening, is how Trump has basically been trying to block the court or block Congress from obtaining accounting records from his own business deals, even with his taxes. So you're looking at people even analyzing the power of the presidency. So there's a lot happening in this battle, and we're getting closer and closer to the 2020 election, folks. And you see so much happening within government. Citizens unhappy with where their tax dollars have been going. I mean, you may see a total change in the next few years with how things are done when it comes to government. You may see a lot of people going out to the polls, getting more informed, waking up to what is actually happening on the bigger scale here, because we've seen a lot of years where there just hasn't been anything getting done. There was another story that surfaced about a representative from Congress. I think he says that they want more oversight because of the fact that Trump supporters are people who are opposing Trump are getting uncomfortable with just the fashion and the style of what we've seen. So there's just I'm telling you, there's things happening on each aisle. Experts are saying that the majority of illegal immigrants in the U.S. have been receiving government benefits, and they've been saying that it's been costing taxpayers billions and billions of dollars. I'm telling you, story number 2 is when you talk about the government restructuring. Is government working in this new environment? Which government programs need to stay or need to be adjusted? I've always thought Social Security was a great idea for retirees. I think it's a great thing for people who have had their leg in the game. But there's a lot of people who feel cheated. They feel like they have not been given a fair shake, and they want to know why. Some people who are not disabled, who haven't worked. So I'm telling you, seeing a lot of things happening, and there's a grassroots movement going on right now within this level of this level that we're at. We're probably at about level, I would probably say, when it comes to the movement, you're probably seeing we're probably at a level 3 right now. But as the election gets closer and closer, we're probably going to shoot up to probably about a level 10 of people having questions, of wanting to make a government that works. Make policies that work. They want to see. So you're probably going to see, and the people who have got a lot of leg in the game, hardcore taxpayers who have been putting into the system, they want to see results. So I see story number 2 gaining some steam. If you want to contribute, if you want to help out any way you're in the media, it'll be Brian West. All you have to do is visit www.method8inc.com, method80.com, where you can buy something, click on something, watch something, or just read something, or just sponsor a program. It is my supreme duty every week to give you the top 8 headlines and developing news stories that made it throughout the week.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The mediator is here.